All right, hey guys, we're gonna talk about precordial lead placement. So we'll put the electrodes on and then we will also put the leads on. Now the limb leads were color-based and these are gonna be number-based. So we have V1. Now you're gonna need to know the anatomical location. So V1, it doesn't matter the color, but it's labeled V1. That is going to go to the right of the sternum in the fourth intercostal space. Now, I'm making sure the gel part is in the intercostal space because that sticker is too big for the intercostal space. And remember, our intercostal spaces are between the ribs. So if you find your collarbone and you kind of walk your fingers down just a little bit, that indentation right there between your collarbone and that top rib bone right there, that's an intercostal space. So we're going to go down 4 intercostal spaces on the right side of the sternum, and we want that gel to be not on bone, okay? V2 is going to be to the left of the sternum. Now make sure you realize that this is the patient's left and the patient's right, okay? So to the left of the sternum in the fourth intercostal space. Now it should be directly across from V1, okay? And the sternum should be in between, and we're in the fourth intercostal space. Now we do not put on V3 next because V3 does not have an anatomical location. So I'm gonna find V4. Now V4 is going to be to the left of the sternum, just like V2, in the mid-clavicular line, okay? So you're gonna find the patient's clavicle bone and it's gonna be in the mid-clavicular line in the 5th intercostal space. So we're gonna drop down from the 4th intercostal space on V1 and 2 and we're in the 5th intercostal space for V4. Now remember V3, it did not have an anatomical location. So I'm going to go back in now and I'm going to put V3 in between V2 and V4. That's where it goes, okay? Now I move on to V5. V5 is going to be to the left of the sternum on the anterior axillary line. So that's right here. Remember, axillary is the fancy word for the armpit region, and anterior is just front. So we're going to be at the 5th intercostal space on the anterior axillary line, okay? Anterior axillary line. Still in the 5th intercostal space. Now we've got V6. V6 is going to be to the left of the sternum in the 5th intercostal space on the mid-axillary line. Mid-axillary line is literally middle of the armpit, so it should intersect right there. And look, we have kind of outlined where the heart would be. Now the precordial leads, we have 6 precordial leads. The precordial leads are unipolar, which means they don't talk like our limb leads do. It just literally records that area of the heart. So you have V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, and V6. So you need to know the placement of them. So you need to know if they're to the right or left of the sternum, what intercostal space they are, and what is their anatomical landmark. Now V3, please note that does not have an anatomical landmark, and that's why it just goes in between V2 and V4. Okay, those are your precordial leads. We have to make sure we put those on correctly so that we get an accurate reading of the EKG. All right, precordial leads. You have got this. You can do this, okay? If it's confusing, just rewatch it, but I know that you can get this.